So, Satou Sabally is obviously a player for the Dallas Wings who's not going to be a player for the Dallas Wings for much longer. Like, we all know that. We all know she's gone. She said as much that her and Dallas are trying to get her like, get her off the team, and they're trying to get her to where she can go. Because the thing is, a core player is allowed to veto pretty much any trade. They can veto pretty much anything, and there are only certain positions where Satou could land. So obviously I've talked in other videos just about Satou, and I'm going to be talking about the Fever's chances of getting Satou Sabally, whether or not they're realistic, whether they're completely unrealistic. And obviously the leading team right now is the New York Liberty. She literally talked about how she was born in New York, about how she wants to play with her sister. So I think the New York Liberty are the number one team, but obviously, if Dallas don't get what they want, they don't have to accept a trade. So I don't see her going anywhere other than three places. Like, some people are saying the Sparks she could go to, but like the Sparks would have to give up the number 2 pick, which I don't think the Sparks are going to do. She could go to LA, but Satou is someone who will be going to a big market. And I'm also going to be talking a little bit in the video later on today, is like, or maybe even tomorrow, like, is it Satou or bust for Indiana? I don't quite think it is. I know a lot of people do think it is Satou or bust. I don't. But anyway, yeah. So the only chance the Fever have of getting Satou Sabally is by massively overpaying. Because I think the Fever have a good chance of getting her. I think they would be your second choice on the list after the New York Liberty. But the reality of the situation is that it's going to have to be in a situation where your deal is so good that the Dallas Wings are like, no, please. Like, we are not accepting the New York Liberty's offer. This offer is way too good. You're either going to have to suck it up or sit out for next season, or we're going to core you again. It's like, we don't have to core you to this very one specific team. But look, if your second choice is giving us 100 times better than your first choice, then that's what we'll do. So I think that's probably going to be the more likely scenario. And I think with the Liberty, you're looking at pick number 7. You're looking at maybe Maureen Johannes if she comes back. I saw somewhere that literally was like a Wings page being like, give us Phoebich, Benijah, Laney, Hamilton, and that's what you're going to get for Satou. And it's like, maybe 7 and Benijah Laney you could get for Satou, maybe. Like, that would be the max. I'm making this a point right now. Leonie Phoebich is better than Satou Sabally. Like, if you ask me as a de facto Fever fan, if I could take one player of any team in the WNBA to have on the Indiana Fever that is not named Aja Wilson or Breanna Steward or Fee Collier, that are not those like top 3 players in the W, it would be Leonie Phoebich. She is literally I think more often than not in the playoffs, she played like the 3rd best player on the Liberty. And you might be saying, oh, but like, he was clearly their 4th best player. My whole thing was that, like, on any given game, she was always seemingly their 3rd best player. Whereas Breanna would have bad games. Stewie would have some bad games. John Quell didn't have all unbelievable games. Leonie Phoebich gave you a 7 out of 10 every single game. She's 6'4". She guards the other team's best player. She shoots better than Satou. I think she's a 10 times better defensive player than Satou. I think she's almost as good an offensive player as Satou. And she's the same size. Like, people talking about the unicorn. Like, man, Leonie Phoebich is one of the 15 best players in this league. Like, if she was on the Fever, I'm not joking, I don't think she's any worse than Leah Boston as a player. So the Liberty aren't making that trade. They're smart enough. They know the difference between them losing in 2023 and winning in 2024 was Phoebich. But that trade's not going to happen. The problem is, if the Liberty offer Johannes and 7, and Johannes is willing to come over, or they have some sort of a 3-team trade where Johannes goes to the Valkyries maybe, and you can manage to like make some sort of a trade around that with obviously Johannes to say Johannes goes to the Valkyries, she's willing to play there. You send down what small forwards? Heck, maybe the Valkyries will be happy out sending something like a Chechi Zandalasini to the other way, and you get like a Chechi plus the 7th pick. But I think it's going to be the 7th pick for New York, and that's where the big difference comes in. Like 7 versus 8, like not even the huge difference, but like it's a better pick than Indiana has. I think the only way Indiana can get Satou Sabally is if they offer like Smith. Like Smith and 8 is not going to get you Satou. The New York Liberty can at least put out a comparable offer to Smith and 8. And if Smith and 8 is going to get you Satou, the Liberty, if she wants to go to the Liberty putting 7 plus literally anyone is probably going to be as good a trade as that. And it also likely means Anissa Morrow is probably going to go at 7. So if you're hoping for her to drop to 8, if the Wings somehow get picked 7, I don't see how they don't take Anissa Morrow in that scenario. Maybe because they're like, well, we don't want her to play with Tierra McCowan. That might be one thing. But with her rebound and catching all of Enrique's bricks, like that could be huge. I think they'd have to give up, realistically, to make it too good for the Wings to refuse. It would have to be Smith. It would probably have to be Smith, Berger, 8, and next year's first round pick. Like that's what I think the Fever are going to have to give. Because if she's even, let's just say her first choice is Liberty and her second choice is Fever, third choice is Chicago, but it's close between Fever and Chicago for where she wants to go. And Chicago put the number 3 pick in that offer, with Kiki Iriafen almost certainly going to be available at 3. And if she's not available at 3, it could be Olivia Miles who's there, who a lot of people think they should be taken at 1. They either get the quote-unquote best fit in Kiki Iriafen or arguably the best player. So as far as the offers go, the Sky have the best offer. The problem is the Fever are going to have to mortgage their future to get Satou. Whereas it's looking like the Liberty won't. For her to choose the Fever over the Liberty, the Fever are likely going to have to mortgage their future. And I'm not sure they should. Especially for a player who only has played over 17 games in a season once. She has played 5 seasons and played over 17 games once. So, look, I don't think it's worth mortgaging a future for Satou Sabally. I think she's a really good player. And I think there's no way either that the Liberty are dumb enough to give up Leonie Fibic in that trade. And I'm just putting it out there. If the Liberty are willing to trade Leonie Fibic for Satou Sabally, I would literally straight up call up the Dallas Wings and be like, yo, what do you want for Fibic? What do you want for her? If the Liberty are dumb enough to move Fibic in this trade, I would give 8 next year's first and Nalissa Smith to Dallas for Leonie Fibic, if the Liberty are dumb enough to move her in a trade for Satou. Like, I'm not joking. Like, I would give more assets for Leonie Fibic because you know she's going to be a better fit at that small forward position. And then you sign Natasha Howard in free agency. And I'm not joking. A team of Fibic, Kelsey Mitchell, Caitlin Clark, Natasha Howard, Leah Boston is the best starting 5 in the WNBA, including what New York Liberty put out if Fibic is in that trade. But I doubt they're dumb enough to do that. So anyway, yeah. Do I think she's going to end up anywhere but the Liberty? No, but realistically, that's what the Fever are going to have to do to get her, is give up so much.